Have you ever felt guilty just for getting healthier? Maybe you've started to ask honest questions, set new boundaries, or even explore healing outside the lines of what you were taught. And suddenly, it feels like you're being disloyal. Like choosing yourself means abandoning your family, your faith, or even God. If you've ever whispered, "What will they think?" or wondered, "Am I being selfish for doing this?" This conversation is for you. Today, I'm sharing the emotional tug-of-war I faced when healing felt like betrayal, plus 3 powerful truths that helped me move forward without losing myself or dishonoring the people I loved. So if your desire to grow has ever made you question your loyalty, or your longing for peace has been mistaken for rebellion, come closer. You're not breaking away, you're breaking through. Welcome to Healing Religious Trauma, the podcast for Christian women ready to heal without losing their faith. If you're feeling the weight of spiritual pressure and distant from the God you used to trust, you're in the right place. I'm Debra, spiritual healing coach, founder of the Healing Religious Trauma Circle, and someone who's walked the hard road of untangling toxic faith. If you're ready to make sense of your story, find peace with a safe, loving God, and hear stories that remind you you're not alone, grab your tea, toss the rule book, and let's go. Did you know I wrote a book for you? Not a theology book, not a rule book, a redemptive memoir and spiritual healing guide crafted for Christian women who love God but feel worn down by religious rules, shame, or silence. If you've ever felt afraid to ask honest questions, if you've carried shame like a second skin, or if you've longed for real connection, but worried that healing meant walking away from your faith, this is for you. My book, He is Enough, helps you name the invisible aftershocks of religious trauma, those deep spiritual wounds that keep faithful women stuck in fear, silence, and self-doubt. Because you can't heal what you can't name. And this book gives you the language to name what happened, how it shaped you, and where your healing can begin. It's a full-color, workbook-style guide designed to walk with you through reflection, restoration, and reconnection with your faith, your voice, and your sense of inner peace. And when you grab your copy at heisenoughbook.com, you'll also receive the audiobook, a bonus mini course, weekly reading circles I personally host, and access to our private support community. It's just $17, and it's yours to begin right now. Visit heisenoughbook.com and claim your seat at the table of healing. You don't have to walk this alone. Before we move on, I want to share something with you that shaped a lot of how I used to see myself and God. I was raised in an environment where obedience was everything, and questioning felt dangerous. Everything about our lives was tightly controlled. We weren't really allowed to experiment or discover things for ourselves. The outcomes always had to be right, and right was already decided by someone else. That meant there was no room to fail, no space to explore, and definitely no trust in my own intuition. The message was clear. Someone else always knew better. Teachers, parents, leaders, they wrote the script from beginning to end. My job was to follow it. And over time, I internalized that deeply. I started believing I couldn't trust myself, that I was probably wrong, that I'd mess it all up if I tried to do anything on my own. So I became dependent on others to tell me when to start, when to stop, what to say, what to believe, even how to parent, or what projects were okay to pursue. I wasn't allowed to go rogue, and if I did, I was questioned, corrected, brought back into line. So years later, when I started to grow beyond the container I was given, when I started to heal, I felt like I was doing something wrong, like I was betraying everything and everyone I loved. Seeking out grief and trauma support felt disloyal. Reading a book outside my tradition felt dangerous. And for a long time, I wrestled with that inner fear. What if I'm being rebellious? What if I'm turning my back on everything good? The truth is, I wasn't trying to walk away from my faith. I was just trying to stop abandoning myself. But back then, the only version of faithful I knew was self-abandonment. Everyone else decided what I needed. Everyone else decided how God would meet those needs. And I allowed it because I didn't know I had permission to do anything different. But that silence cost me years of suffering in secret, of minimizing myself so no one would feel disappointed. Years of pretending I was fine when I wasn't. And eventually, it all caught up with me. I was shamed, misunderstood, marginalized. Maybe not, quote, shunned in the traditional sense, but definitely pushed to the edge. And here's the part I need you to hear. That wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Because as I kept walking, slowly and tearfully, down the path of healing, I began to meet God in ways I never expected. Not through someone else's script, not through shame or fear, but through my own heart, the one He made. God used unconventional means to reach me. He used books, counselors, spiritual mentors. He used curiosity. He used my own hunger to finally be whole. And the more I leaned in, the more I discovered this quiet but stunning truth. I didn't have to choose between healing and God. I could be whole and still belong. I could ask honest questions and still be faithful. I could live fully, as if I had never been broken, and still be guided gently and clearly by the one who made me. I started to believe that maybe, just maybe, I didn't have to be afraid anymore. Now, I live with a deep sense of trust, not in myself alone, but in the Spirit within me, the voice of God that whispers when I begin to veer off the path. I don't have to freeze in fear anymore. I can move forward, try new things, speak freely, and know if something's off, He'll nudge me, He'll guide me, and He'll protect me. That's not betrayal. That's restoration. And it's exactly what He wanted for me all along. Okay, let's move into today's teaching. If you've ever felt like your healing journey is somehow betraying your church, your family, or your faith, I want to say this clearly. You're not disloyal. You're not selfish. You're not walking away. You're waking up. And healing from religious trauma can absolutely stir up feelings of guilt, grief, even fear, especially if you've been conditioned to equate faithfulness with silence, self-denial, or unquestioning obedience. So today, I want to walk you through 3 powerful reasons why healing feels like betrayal, even when it's not. And I'll share what helped me move through each one without abandoning my faith or dishonoring the people I love. Okay, here we go. Reason number 1. You were taught that obedience means silence. Many of us were raised in environments where questioning, setting boundaries, or naming harm wasn't just discouraged. It was labeled rebellion. You might have internalized that staying quiet was holy, that enduring pain was Christ-like, and that speaking up meant sowing discord or having a rebellious spirit. But the truth? Obedience to God is not the same as obedience to people who distorted His character. Here's what helped me. I started asking this in prayer. God, what do you say when no one else is speaking for you? That one question became a turning point because it invited me to hear God's voice unfiltered. not through fear, not through control, just Him. John 10:27 says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them." God is still speaking, and He's not threatened by your voice or your pain. Okay, this week, try this. When something stirs discomfort in you, instead of silencing it, just get curious. Ask, is this discomfort pointing me toward truth or just toward compliance? Okay, reason number 2. You've equated faithfulness with self-abandonment. If you're like me, you were probably taught that being faithful meant enduring at all costs. Smile, serve, submit, suffer quietly, don't rock the boat. But that's not faithfulness. That's survival. Real faithfulness includes being faithful to what God is doing within you. And sometimes that means saying no to what's harming you, even if others call it disobedience. What helped me with this was remembering how Jesus Himself healed on the Sabbath and upset a whole lot of religious folks in the process. Luke 13:16 says, "Should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free, even on the Sabbath day?" Jesus challenged harmful rules in order to restore. Okay, this week, try this. If you notice yourself hesitating to take a healing step, ask, am I honoring God by staying in pain, or is He actually inviting me out of it? Reason number 3, you don't want to hurt or dishonor the people you love. All right, this one is definitely a tender one. I get it. Many of us have people in our lives, family, pastors, mentors, who poured into us, who meant well, who gave what they could, and the last thing we want is to dishonor their love or reject our roots. But here's what I've learned. Healing isn't dishonoring. It's just being honest. You can still love people and tell the truth about what hurt you. You can grieve what they couldn't give you and still choose truth for yourself. What helped me was reframing disloyalty. Choosing healing didn't mean turning my back on my family. It meant I was turning toward the kind of life and love God actually desired for me. Ephesians 4:25 says, "Speak the truth in love, for we are all members of one body." You are not betraying anyone by healing. This week, try this. Journal honestly. What part of me is afraid that healing will cost me love or approval? Let that voice speak. And then gently remind yourself, you don't have to earn love by staying in pain. Okay, I'll leave you with this. Healing may feel like betrayal when the only version of loyalty you were given was losing yourself. But the truth? You're not betraying your roots. You're returning to who you were before the fear. You can honor where you came from and still grow into who you're becoming. You're not walking away. You're walking home. Hey, before you go, if you've ever loved God but felt crushed by religious rules, silence, or shame, I wrote a book for you. It's called He is Enough. Part memoir, part healing guide, created for Christian women walking through religious trauma. Inside, I help you name the invisible aftershocks that keep so many faithful women stuck in fear, confusion, or self-doubt, even as they try to stay faithful and do everything right. Because you can't heal what you can't name. And this book gives you the language to name what happened, how it shaped you, and where your healing can begin. You'll also get the audiobook, a bonus mini course, weekly reading circles I personally host, and access to our private support community. Go to he'senoughbook.com and claim your seat at the table of healing. You don't have to walk this alone. Hey friend, if this episode encouraged you and made you feel a little less alone, would you share it with someone who needs that too? And while you're at it, would you please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts? It's like a virtual hug that helps more women find their way here. You can also take the free quiz at healingreligionstrauma.org to get your personalized path forward, plus a little audio gift I made just for you. Okay, I'll meet you back here next week for another honest conversation. Until then, keep taking the next gentle step.